Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Kogadai. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm the occupational therapy student. I'm doing my doctoral capstone project on exploring the barriers that first generation college students have accessing mental health services and just taking care of their mental health in general. So this is a workshop number 2 out of a 7 week series of just going through the 7 dimensions of wellness and learning how to take care of yourself in each of those dimensions. So today we're going to be discussing emotional wellness. So here are objectives for this workshop. So first we're going to be defining what emotional wellness is and how it relates to mental health. Then we're going to be exploring the role culture plays in mental health stigma. Obviously, this workshop is tailored to first generation college students, so culture is um, a huge aspect of all of this. Next, we'll be discussing the importance of emotional literacy and learning about the signs of stress and emotional distress and what to look out for. And lastly, we will be going over some activities about emotional regulation, identifying emotions, and learning some coping skills. Before we begin, I just want to show this again. This is the self-care menu that I created. This is available on the Trio modules. So if you want to save this and add to it on your computer or print it out and write into it, but the idea of the self-care menu is to write down some strategies for each of the dimensions. So when you are having challenges with your mental health, it's easy to refer back to just some things that you're able to do to take care of yourself. So hopefully today you can write some things down for the emotional wellness part of your menu. Alrighty, so what is emotional wellness? Emotional wellness is being aware of, understanding, accepting, respecting, and expressing your feelings, your values, and attitudes, as well as those of others. Coping effectively with your stress and different challenges is really important for just maintaining emotional wellness. The ability to acknowledge and cope with both positive and negative emotions is important for emotional wellness as well. And it is healthy. Not knowing how to identify or manage negative feelings and thoughts can affect the ability to function and carry out activities of daily living. So your role as students will be impacted if your emotional wellness is being negatively affected, and just your ability to do your activities of daily living or ADLs, and that can be detrimental to your role as a student or if you're working just throughout your life. And lastly, just learning how to handle stressful situations, adapting and responding to life's challenges. So life does not come without challenges, and that's true for everybody, but having good emotional wellness, you're able to kind of go with whatever life is throwing at you, and just having the confidence to, um, adapt to certain situations is really important to do. So hopefully you can learn something in this presentation about how to do that if you don't already. Um, so stigma, mental health stigma across cultures. So stigma, first off, is a negative attitude or discrimination against mental health struggles. So there's many different types of stigma. There's self-stigma, there's societal stigma, and the big one, cultural stigma. Um, the stigmata the stigmatization of mental health illnesses across cultures is a significant barrier to psychiatric care, and it is very true for a lot of first generation students. The stigma can lead to delayed diagnoses and treatment-seeking behaviors. So a lot of students aren't taking care of themselves or seeking help because of this stigma that they may have grown up with in their own cultures. Stigma also increases morbidity and self-harm and just reduces the quality of life. So some cultures view mental health in different ways. If if you prolong untreated mental health issues, it can further impair an individual's ability to function in various domains of their life. This includes work, relationships, self-care, um, and not adhering to treatments can lead to suboptimal treatment outcomes. So, if you're not putting in the time to take care of your mental health because of your cultural background, maybe, then you're not going to get that outcome that you're looking for. It may hinder recovery and it may increase the risk of a relapse or even worsening symptoms. So many cultures, again, view mental health issues as a sign of, personal weakness or of failure of self-control. Some cultures view mental health as an attribute to spiritual or supernatural causes, such as a curse or possessions. Even other cultures view view mental health as a divine punishment. So a religious belief perpetuates the mental health stigma, and if there is any interventions, it is religious or spiritual intervention. So it is different all around and different viewpoints. So it just kind of depends. So your cultural upbringing is going to really influence your emotional expression because you may have fears of judgment, of shame, of weakness, of just fears of how people will treat you, of what the intervention will look like, etc. So it just really depends. Um, and then a big one is the influence of gender on stigma is going to vary across cultures. In some cultures, mental health for men is non-existent because they feel like men should be stoic and strong and not emotional. They view women as more emotional than men. So, it's not something a lot of men are growing up not thinking that their mental health is important and this could be very detrimental. I mean, it's June now. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's because many men are grown up in these types of cultures where there's a huge stigma on them expressing their feelings or even having emotions. But then there are some other cultures where it's more looked down upon for a woman to have some type of mental health issues and not having control over their issues. So it varies across cultures, but it's really interesting to see how someone's upbringing is going to really influence their views on mental health and seeking help or even just taking care of themselves, really. And then these are some emotional barriers that individuals may experience. So there's emotional suppression. Again, if you are grown into a culture where mental health is not talked about, it's not, it's even stigmatized, then you may grow to suppress your emotions instead of, um, regulate them, instead of express them, instead of working through them or anything. You just kind of learn to suppress it. Internalized pressure and stigma. So there could be, pressure coming from within. Like, why do I feel this? Why am I feeling sad about whatever? It could be worse, so that can create feelings of guilt or shame. You've heard the phrase, "Oh, someone has it worse than you. Why, look on the bright side," type of thing. So it really depends what information is coming in as you're growing up, right? And then imposter syndrome comes up a lot. So a lot of first-gen students again experience imposter syndrome, and they may again feel like, why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't. My family had to make all these sacrifices, and they had all these traumas, and they never felt any emotions about it. They didn't show it or express it. So why should I, type of thing. Um, Isolation and limited social support. And so if your social circles, your environments, people who you're the closest to are not supportive of your emotions or expressing them or um, if you're made fun of for it, then you may feel isolated and not, want to nurture your emotional well-being, really. And then the last couple ones are lack of emotional literacy and coping skills and limited social emotional self-awareness. So these ones are big ones that we're going to be discussing in this presentation. If someone is not familiar with what it means to have emotions, how to regulate them, what are some things they can do to cope with emotions, or just negative experiences, then it's really hard for them to take care of their emotional wellness because they're not even aware of what that means. They don't know they don't have the tools for it. So that's going to be a really big barrier for sure. So we're gonna go into emotional health literacy because again, if you don't know something, you can't fix it, right? So the components of emotional literacy are going to be recognition of emotions, understanding emotions, expression of emotions, and self-awareness. So we're going to be going through emotional literacy, emotional intelligence, and emotional regulation. And these three terms and concepts are very interrelated, and there's a little bit of overlap in some of them, but they focus on different things. So, emotional literacy is the ability to notice, interpret, understand, and respond and regulate emotions in ourselves and others, right? So, it's just knowing. And understanding that you have emotions, that other people have emotions, and just being able to express that, right? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, again, manage and influence your own emotions and again the emotions of others. So for emotional intelligence, we're thinking more of how are we perceiving emotions? How are we reasoning with emotions that we're feeling? How are we understanding our emotions or understanding the emotions of someone else that they're expressing to you? And then also just how are we managing these emotions and just having the knowledge behind all of those things, right? And then emotional regulation is the ability to manage and respond to your emotions in a healthy way. So this is more action, right? So emotional regulation is adjusting your reactions to your emotions. So it being, the proportional to what happens, right? Changing their intensity and controlling when they come up. So we'll get a little bit into that in a second. And so for emotional intelligence, there are five main components. So there's self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So for self-awareness, this is seeing your patterns and behaviors, the pattern of your behaviors and your motives. So being aware of when something happens, why it happens, just recognizing the patterns of your behaviors, why are you doing things, is really the first step of being able to manage your emotions and have that emotional intelligence, because you need to recognize what you're doing, right? The next one is self-regulation. Your emotional reactions are proportionate to the given circumstances. So if someone, bumps into you by accident, and they apologize, the if you're unregulated, you may try to fight them. But if you are regulated, then you may be like, okay, it's all good. It was an accident. Move on, right? The next one is motivation. So it's just your own desire to, for personal development. So your own desire to want to learn about these things, to want to grow, to want to be healthier, to be better, that is really important because without that intrinsic motivation, not a lot can be done, right? Um, so the next one is empathy. So you have a healthy level of self-interest, but not self-centered. So you want to be interested in yourself. You want to be interested in your growth and your ability to learn about Emotional intelligence is being kind to yourself and kind to your past and your experiences, just having empathy all around for yourself and for others, right? And last one is social skills. So again, just being aware of others and their needs. So this really comes in handy when you're having conflict with other people. So life does not come without conflicts. It's going to happen eventually, either with friends, with partners, with family, just anyone really. And just having the emotional intelligence to understand what someone's feeling, why they're feeling it, how they react to something, what you're feeling, what you're reacting, like that in itself is going to really help with your social circles, and this social skill is really important for that. Yeah, so we'll be discussing that in a little bit. And these are some signs of emotional difficulties. So there are four main stages of mental health conditions to be aware of. So the first stage, you may have mild symptoms and warning signs. Stage two, the symptoms may increase in frequency and severity, and now maybe interfering with some of your life activities and your roles, and think of being a student, you may um, skip out on an evening of studying, or you miss a homework assignment or discussion post, maybe not as detrimental, but this is kind of the start of it. And then stage three, your symptoms are worsening with relapse or recurring episodes accompanied by serious disruption in life activities and rules. So with this, maybe you miss a, an exam, or you don't turn in a project, or you don't go to work, etc. It's a more worse symptoms. And then stage four is symptoms are persistent and severe and have jeopardized one's life. So with this one, you may have dropped out of school, you may quit your job, you may have or gotten fired. Um, you may have suicidal ideations at this point. So this one is definitely more severe. So some of the signs and symptoms that you're going to be wanting to look out for is just persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness, feeling irritable, tearful, or angry, withdrawing socially. So a lot of times, if your friends are withdrawn and not coming to hang out, maybe, checking in on them, hey, I've noticed you haven't been around, or maybe that's what you're doing, so someone can come check on you. Yeah, so loss of interest in activities that are usually enjoyable. This is the big one because when you are emotionally distressed, even things that you enjoy doing, you cannot do, or just you're not interested in doing it because you don't have the motivation or the energy or something. You want to look out for changes to eating or sleeping patterns, maybe feeling restless or agitated, fatigue or lack of energy, difficulty concentrating. This could be during class, it could be during exams, it could be during the studying, office hours, anything, right? Um, Neglecting self-care, so maybe you're not brushing your teeth or showering or eating healthy. Difficulties with work or studies or carrying out everyday tasks. Maybe some mood swings, thoughts of death or suicide, self-harm, or even um, substance misuse. So this could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be just risky behaviors. So things to look out for. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about regulating emotions. Um, So the way that you manage your emotions may partly have to do with how you were raised, particularly if you're faced with adverse experiences like abuse, neglect, or any other childhood traumas. Um, this is something that does come up a lot with first generation college students. Not always, but it can be. And so it's just really important to consider why you react to certain things, and really thinking back to how you were raised, because that's going to be a huge factor in all of this, right? So there are biological and neurological processes that relate to how you respond to something. So there's your limbic system. So the limbic system houses your stress response, right? So you've probably heard of the fight or flight. There's also freeze, as well as the prefrontal cortex. And so this helps you make rational decisions. So if you see in this image on your left, this is a chart of response options to emotional distress. So when emotional distress occurs, you're going to have a reaction. And so with that reaction, you have two choices really. You can go the judgment route or the mindfulness route. So if you're going to the judgment route, you may have judgments in interpretations of how you're interpreting what someone said or how they acted. Maybe you're making some assumptions about that. Comparisons, comparing yourself to others. You're assessing value. Maybe you don't feel like self-worthy, right? And then also just looking through other person's eyes um, instead, right? But if you are going through the mindfulness route, then you are noticing feelings and sensations in your body. You're kind of identifying what you're feeling, where you're feeling it. You're looking more for facts instead of assumptions, right? Um, you're not making things up in your head. You're looking at what do I know to be true? And then lastly, acceptance of the present moment, and just knowing, not looking at past situations or thinking, being anxious about future situations, and just knowing like in this moment what is happening in this one situation, right? So then from there, you can either go self-regulation or emotional regulation. So self-regulation, you're looking at shame, anger, fight or flight, maybe shutting down or having a mood shift, right? Or if you go emotional regulation, then you have radical acceptance, opposite action, and breathing and grounding techniques, which we'll go over in a little bit. So in terms of calming a nervous system, there's things that you can do. There's some strategies that you can do in that moment when you feel like your body is dysregulated, your nervous system is dysregulated. So first, just taking a cold shower, just to kind of shock your system. Or if you can't do that, holding an ice cube in your hand kind of does the same thing. Some gentle movements, listening to music, petting an animal and counting their heartbeat, so there's just a little snippet um, of strategies that you can use specifically for just calming your nervous system when you feel that. But we'll go over a little bit more coping skills in a second. Okay, so identifying your emotions. So first off, before you're able to do anything, you need to know how to identify your emotions, right? Because if you don't even know what you're feeling, then it's hard to know where to go or what to do, right? So strong emotions can be difficult to handle, but if it's not handled well, then it could lead to bigger problems. So improving your self-awareness and learning to recognize your emotions and naming your feelings is going to be essential for this. So using something like the emotion wheel can really help you dive deeper into your emotions and you know s- really see what it is that you're feeling. So if you look at this emotion wheel, the center has six main emotions. We have anger, fear, surprise, happy, sad, and disgust, right? So these are your six basic emotions, and this is typically what people um, feel on the surface area, right? And this may be something that is seen. So if someone's looking at you, they may say, "Oh, you look angry." But then there's the second layer of the pie, and this one is forms of the emotion of the center emotions, but it's more specific. So if you look at anger, for example, we have a more deeper, specific emotion is hurt, threatened, hateful, mad, aggressive, frustrated, distant, critical, disapproval, disappointed, awful, avoidance, right? So these are deeper. And then more specific to that, and the third level is going to be more, even more adjectives to sharpen the distinction even more, right? So back to anger. So if you're feeling angry, you may determine like, okay, well, I feel threatened. And then you can hone it down to, okay, well, maybe I'm just jealous or I'm feeling insecure because that's in this little column of the pie. So then you can see like what you're actually feeling that's disguising itself as anger, right? And then with a more specific emotion, you have a better understanding of what you need and what you can do next, right? Um, so you want to, so once you identify your emotional state, you want to pay attention to the subtle sensations in your body, their quality, location, and intensity. So typically you're going to be feeling these emotions in your body. You may feel it in your head, you may feel it in your chest, you may feel it in your stomach, so you just want to make note of each of that. Um, and then ask yourself what questions. You want to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? When and where did this start? What was going on at the time? Was anyone else involved? What choices do I have right now? What tools do I have right now? What people, places, or things will help me feel safer in this moment? So you really want to dive deep and ask yourself all of these what questions in order to, just identify what is going on with you so that you can see what you need, right? And you want to avoid asking why questions. Do not ask why questions. Don't ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Why am I experiencing this thing? Because there's no point to. You're feeling what you feel and it's in your body. So instead of adding to the pressure of why do I feel this way, you can just figure out, okay, what it is, why am I feel what am I feeling, not why am I feeling it, right? Um, yes, so keep that in mind. And so these are some emotional regulation strategies. So I'm not sure if anyone's heard of zones of regulation. It's used with kids a lot, but adults, anyone, any age can really benefit from the zones of regulation and just being able to have the ability to identify and verbalize any big feelings that you're having, because this is the first step of self-regulation, right? So there's four main zones of regulation: blue, green, yellow, and red. So for the blue zone, you may be feeling sick, you're sad, tired, bored, you're moving slowly. For the green zone, you're happy, you're calm, you're feeling okay, you're ready, ready to learn, and you're feeling focused. And then for yellow zone, you may be feeling frustrated, worried, silly, and maybe some loss of control. And lastly, the red zone, you are feeling mad, angry, mean, you're yelling or hitting, or I mean, hopefully not hitting, but disgusted, out of control, right? So it's good to keep these in mind, the zones of regulation. And then some other strategies that you can do, some things that we've talked about already and some things that we will talk about. So just naming the emotions, so using that emotion wheel to figure out what it is that you're feeling specifically will help a lot, right? And then validating the emotion. So telling yourself, I feel this, I feel angry, I feel insecure, and that's okay. I'm allowed to feel this thing, and not judge yourself for feeling it. So validating that within yourself that you feel this emotion, and that's okay, right? Another important strategy for emotional regulation is being able to identify your triggers. So, with more self-awareness, you will recognize some patterns that you're having. Maybe you feel angry every time you're around a specific person or a group of people or a certain situation or a certain place. For example, so just being able to identify that, and that will help you make the best decision for yourself and maybe mm, not go there or have boundaries or have a conversation with someone. So being able to identify those triggers is a good place to start. Um, And then next up, meditation or mindfulness. So we will be discussing this in a little bit, but meditation is really important for just regulating your emotions, slowing your body down, slowing your thoughts down. Yeah, but we'll discuss this one in a little bit. Talking through emotions. So a lot of students mentioned that they don't like to go to therapy. They like to just talk to their friends and family, right? This is a really good emotional regulation strategy, actually, because including that social element is really important with talking through your feelings and processing things. Like some people are more verbal processors when it comes to their emotions, so having a safe person that they can um, discuss whatever they're feeling is crucial for many people, right? And then journaling again is something that we're going to be discussing in a little bit, so I'm going to skip this one right now. Noticing when you need a break. This is something that we discussed in the last workshop, in the physical wellness workshop. Knowing when you need to take a break and good sleep hygiene are actually emotional regulation strategies. Like if you are feeling emotionally distressed, taking the time to take a 5 minute break, taking the time to take a quick nap or, get your body moving, even like your physical, what you'll learn through all of these workshops is that all of these dimensions are very interconnected. So, your physical wellness and your emotional wellness are going to go hand in hand, right? And all of that overall is going to relate to your mental health. So it's all very connected. And then lastly, just considering therapy. I know the whole point of this project is that there are so many barriers to utilizing therapy and other mental health services. But if you feel like that is the best for you, then obviously it's been very helpful for many people. Okay, and then some other coping skills there's many different categories, so six um, that you can use. So just go through some of them a little briefly. The first one is self-soothing. So comforting yourself through your five senses. So something you can touch, something you can hear, something to see, something to taste, and something to smell. So if you write down, and maybe you could write this in your self-care menu, maybe on the back or just anywhere, so that it's easy to access when you need it the most. You need to comfort yourself. So something to touch, it could be a stuffed animal, it could be a stress ball, it could be bubble wrap, it could be a pet, right? That will help you kind of soothe yourself. Um, Something to hear, this could be music, could be meditation guides, which we'll be doing in a second. Going on YouTube, YouTube is a really good resource for finding any of these things, really. There's calming music, there's calming meditations, there's calming yoga, there's so many resources on YouTube for hearing. Something to see. So what do you enjoy looking at? What brings you peace when you look at it? So this could be a snow globe, it could be happy pictures on your phone, it could be cute cat videos on YouTube again, it could be a picture of a baby goat, wherever your happy place is. Whatever, just something to see that is soothing for you. A body of water even, right? Next up, we have something to taste. So mints, tea, sour candy. Sour candy is known to reduce anxiety. So when you're studying, popping in a sour candy can help in that moment of just drawing your body away from the anxiety into the deliciousness of the sour candy. Keep in mind. And lastly, something to smell. So this could be candles, perfumes, just aromatherapy, right? Lavender has been known to have a calming effect on the body, so things like that, right? Yeah, so soothing yourself through your five senses is the easy one you can do really anywhere, right? The next one is distraction. So taking your mind off the problem for a while. So you can do this in countless ways, right? And everyone is different. Everyone's interests are going to be different. So think about what you like to do, what calms you down, and just taking a little bit of time to do it. So this could be puzzles, books, artworks, arts and crafts, knitting, sewing, crossword puzzles, watching a movie, um, watching a show, listening to music, anything, right? The list goes on and on. Um, the next one, opposite action. So doing something the opposite of your impulse that's consistent with a more positive emotion. So with this one, there's affirmations and inspiration, as well as something funny or cheering. So for affirmations and inspiration, you could be looking at or drawing motivational statements or images. They have motivational affirmations, the coloring books, even, and just telling yourself, positive things, positive self-talk, positive affirmations. And again, I mentioned YouTube a lot, but there's a lot of resources on YouTube if you need something to look at. Um, or just to follow or listen to, right? And then something funny, watching a funny movie, a show, etc., a comedy show, will help you with kind of getting out of a negative emotion. The next one, emotional awareness, which we've been discussing a lot. So tools for identifying and expressing your feelings. So we've already discussed, a list or chart of emotions. So you have the emotion wheel. Journaling, we'll discuss it a little bit. Writing supplies, drawing, art supplies, etc. So just being more in tune with your emotions. Mindfulness, which we'll be discussing, are just tools for centering and grounding yourself in the present moment. So this can look like meditation, and although people often say, "Oh, I don't know how to meditate, or I don't like meditating, or I'm not good at it," meditation can quite literally be 30 seconds at a time, a minute at a time, 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be anything long. It's just simply sitting for a moment and not doing anything and taking the time to center yourself and get yourself out of your head about whatever you may be anxious about or emotionally distressed about. So there's a lot of research that backs up um, mindfulness and just grounding techniques in that way. So we'll be doing some breathing exercises in a little bit. And the last one is having a crisis plan. So contact information of supports and resources, which I've provided some to you all in the lecture, as well as just different uh, go-tos for when some of these coping skills aren't quite enough. So if you're in a situation where mindfulness is not working, you can't distract yourself, the breathing exercises aren't working, and you need more support. So having, go to family and friends who can support you, or a therapist, psychiatrist, there's hotlines, even calling 911 for a real serious emergency. So I had provided a 24/7 lifeline number for UOP in the lecture. So go back to look at that. And it's also on the website and everywhere. But just having a crisis plan is really important, right? Okay, so we're gonna go into some of the relaxation techniques. Um, this one is diaphragmatic breathing. This one is really, really easy. You can do it anywhere, anytime, for any amount of time that you need to. So diaphragmatic breathing is easy. You're just going to you perform this when you're sitting or laying down, just wherever you're comfortable. But right now, sitting. So you're gonna sit in a comfortable position. Your knees are gonna be bent. Your shoulders, your head, and your neck are gonna be relaxed, and you can close your eyes if you want to, if it's helpful. You're gonna have one hand on your chest, on your upper chest, and the other one just below your rib cage, like on your stomach area. And this is going to help you feel the diaphragm move as you breathe. So as you can see in the image here, you're going to push your belly out. You're breathing slowly in through your nose, and your stomach is going to move out against your hand. The hand on your chest, though, you want it to remain as still as possible. And then um, once you do that, then you're going to tighten your stomach muscles so that your stomach is moving back in as you're exhaling through pursed lips. The hand on your chest must remain as still as possible. So only the hand on your stomach is going to be moving. So again, you're going to close your eyes, inhale through your nose. Your stomach is being pushed out, and then push your stomach back in as you exhale through pursed lips. So the hand on my chest is not moving as much as the one on my stomach. So this is an easy one to calm your nervous system, to calm your emotions, just to calm your anxieties, whatever it may be. This is really easy to do. Okay, the next two relaxation techniques are progressive relaxation, which is tensing different muscles in your body and then releasing the tension. So you could either start top to bottom, or you can start on one leg and go up and then back down, whatever you want. But for this image that I've provided, we're just going to start at the top. So for example, you're going to start with your forehead. And it says, scrunch up your forehead like you are thinking hard. Squeeze it tighter, tighter. And now you can relax. So you want to hold that for 10 seconds. So for that, you're going to go like this for 10 seconds and then relax. And then number two is eyes. So you're squinting your eyes like this for 10 seconds and then relaxing. So you're gonna go down the body parts, each part of your body. So your arms, you're gonna like tense up your arms, or sorry, your shoulders, and then relax. Tense up your arms, and then relax. Tense up your feet and relax, right? Like you're gonna go each body part down your body to do this. And then it will kind of help your body relax if you are feeling any type of distress in your body, right? And then the last relaxation technique we're going to be discussing is guided imagery or visualization. So this is picturing objects, scenes, or events that are associated with relaxation or calmness. So this is going to be an attempt to produce a similar feeling in your body. So I have a QR code here. So I'll just show it to you really quickly. This is on YouTube. It is a 10-minute guided imagery. I'm not sure if you can hear it.
Hi,
Oh,
this is Dr. Marty Rossman for the Healing Mind. Take a few minutes now and let me teach you the simplest way I know to relax, release stress, and refresh yourself. Before you begin to relax, take a minute to become aware of your body and the way you feel right now. Slowly scan your attention through your body and notice any tension or discomfort you may feel. If you had an imaginary scale from 0 to 10, where 0 represented no tension at all, and with every breath in, notice that you bring in fresh air, fresh oxygen, and fresh energy that can fuel and recharge your body. Begin to shift gears.
so I won't go through I won't go through the whole video because it's 11 minutes. But if you can see, it is just a guided imagery of just relaxing your body and imagining certain things. It's breath work. So it's just a lot of what we've discussed in one. And so if you're imagining a relaxing environment, then the idea is that then your mind will kind of relax and your body will relax as well to follow that. Yeah, so try these out if you can. Write it in your self-care menu. Okay, next up, we're almost done, but the next up, journaling. So journaling has there's a lot of research that shows that journaling has a major impact on individuals' mental health, and just getting things out of their head, out of their body, and onto paper really helps with improving your mood, improving your mental health. It's going to help with self-awareness, with recognizing patterns, it helps with just regulating emotions. So there's so many benefits of journaling, and you can journal in many different forms. It's not just writing, but You can use a notebook, you can have just on a piece of paper and then burn it after, you can use the Notes app on your phone. There are various apps on phones and iPads, computers that you can download. If you're into typing, if you're not, you can do a voice recordings, you can do video recordings, even there's some apps that are video journaling, so you can find those. And then also just having emotion charts and mood trackers. So as you can see, there's just so many different types of ways. There's no right or wrong, and writing things down isn't for everybody, but there are different forms of journaling that something can fit your needs and your interests, right? So if you go onto Google or Pinterest, even, you can find many, many different types of journaling prompts that can help you with journaling if you don't know where to begin or you don't know where to start. A journaling prompts can help guide that. So I have a few journaling prompts here. Reflect on a time you felt you had to hide your emotions. What caused that feeling? What would support have looked like in that moment? What helps you feel emotionally safe now? Things like this. It's they're simple questions, but it gives you time to reflect and meditate on what has happened in your past, what experiences were positive or negative, what you feel like you needed, what you didn't like. Even you can find out and learn a lot about yourself with journaling and reading back on previous journals. You can kind of see your progress and your growth. Just overall, there's a lot of benefits that come with journaling. So hopefully you can try this one out in any of the forms. And lastly, just to end on some affirmations, I just want everyone to know emotional wellness is not a journey, or it is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not a quick fix. It's not something that you can go to therapy one time and be emotionally well, right? It takes some time, it takes some trial and error. If you do one little thing each time, little things add up to big things. So just enjoy the journey, enjoy the growth, and don't really think about the destination as much. Also, just kind of remembering you're not alone. Everyone, has challenges with their mental health sometimes, and seeking help is a strength. If it was in your upbringing that um, seeking mental health help or just having mental health challenges in general is weakness. It's not. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of vulnerability, and that in itself is strength, right? So just remember you're not alone. Many people are going through similar experiences, worse experiences, better experiences, but everyone is going through something. So find your people, right? Next up, just having self-compassion. Don't add to your stress by feeling bad about your feelings because you're already feeling bad. There's no point of making it worse, right? So if you are feeling stressed out by something or you're stuck on a negative emotion, don't add to it by saying, "Oh, why am I feeling like this?" Just use your tools. We've learned a lot of them just in this workshop, and see what you need and what you can do, and don't and just have some patience with yourself, have some kindness with yourself, and self-compassion. You got to be nice to yourself out here on this mental health journey. um as well as just knowing that feelings are normal. It is normal to have feelings. It is normal to, everyone has them. Everyone that has feelings. Everyone expresses feelings. Everyone should be allowed to. They are completely normal. So just remember that always. And lastly, just to end off, it's okay to feel how you feel, and your feelings are valid. It doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how you reacted to something. There's things that you're able to do, and just know that your feelings are valid, and that's that's all you can really do, right? All right. And the last thing before we end is I just want to share this emotional wellness toolkit. I'm gonna go to the website, but it goes to this. The National Institutes of Health provides this emotional wellness toolkit for resources on many different things, things that we've discussed so far, things that we will discuss, things that we haven't discussed. So just managing your emotions, stress reduction, sleep, mindfulness, coping with loss. There's just a lot of resources here just to learn more about how to take care of your emotional wellness and strategies that you can use. So we weren't able to discuss everything, but that's a great place to go for resources. So yes, thank you so much. That is it for this workshop. I hope you learned something. I hope you were able to add something to your self-care menu. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you.